Ghost, Guilt, and Justice. Charles Dickens' The Trial for Murder isn't just a ghost story, it's a chilling commentary wrapped in Victorian fear. Today, we're unpacking its intrinsic and extrinsic elements. Hello everyone! My name is M.Azra Lilam Putra with the student number of 24111-013, majoring in English Literature, Universitas Teknokrat, Indonesia. The story of The Trial for Murder follows a juror who sees the ghost of a murder victim during a trial. The ghost influences the jury to convict the murderer, even though no one else sees it. The plot is eerie, psychological, and plays with ambiguity. Several characters that are in The Trial for Murder is the first one is the narrator, a logical man forced to question his reality. The second one is the ghost, mysterious and silent, possibly a symbol of justice, vengeance, truth, or conscience. The third one is the jury and the accused. They perhaps reflect societies struggling between belief and skepticism. The setting for The Trial for Murder itself is in a Victorian courtroom, a place meant to represent law and reason, which then turns into a battleground between the natural and the supernatural. Several themes that they brought in this work include justice versus injustice, guilt, the role of conscience, and the limits of human perception. In the work The Trial for Murder, Charles Dickens used formal, descriptive language typical of Victorian prose, but with a dramatic and suspenseful tone. His use of first-person narration adds intimacy and uncertainty, making readers question what's real. He blends rational observation with emotional undertones, increasing the tension between logic and fear. The story in The Trial for Murder itself was told in first-person point of view, which adds to the story's psychological depth and creates ambiguity. Is the narrator reliable or delusional? Now let's talk about the author itself, Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was known for exposing the flaws in Victorian society, especially poverty, class injustice, and institutional failure. He had a lifelong skepticism toward the legal system, which shows in the story. So, back then, Victorian England was both fascinated by the fearful of the supernatural. Ghost stories were widely popular. At the same time, legal reforms were underway and public trust in the system was shaky. This story then echoes those tensions. In the Victorian era, the Victorian society was a mix of scientific progress and spiritual anxiety. People wanted logic but also feared what couldn't be explained. This story captures that cultural contradiction perfectly. The story itself has a philosophical and political influence, where Charles Dickens critiques utilitarian thinking, the idea that logic and numbers could solve moral issues. He often emphasized individual conscience over mechanical law. The ghost here may represent moral justice where legal justice fails. The story in The Trial for Murder fits within Victorian Gothic literature, a subgenre rich in mystery, emotional intensity, and moral ambiguity. It blends psychological horror with social critique, hallmarks of Dickens' later style. So, The Trial for Murder isn't just about a haunting, it's about the haunted nature of justice itself. Through this story, Charles Dickens warned us that even in a courtroom, the truth might need a ghost to speak. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!